Well, we just got this part.
I'm like, do I just?
Yeah, I will cut this part.
Should I say it again?
So all I was gonna say was that, well, Allie just said that she liked the cherry cola red hair color, and I was gonna say that I also really like that color, and also I've seen a lot of midnight blue, like really dark navy blue,
Oh
and
my
it looks
God,
so
yeah.
good. The only thing is you have to like basically go blonde first, which I don't
Not
really
with
want to
the
bleach my
cherry
hair.
color, I don't think.
Cherry color.
The cherry
Oh,
cherry
God.
cola.
Cola. This is what I get for podcasting at 7:30 in the morning. Yeah. Sorry. Backing up. I hopped on this podcast and Allison's hair looked red. I thought she dyed it. And then we launched into how I want to dye my hair cherry cola colored just for funsies.
I keep waiting. Like I keep searching for grays because I'm like, the moment I catch a gray, it's over. Like I'm going to start dyeing my hair again. But I have that mental, like, that's kind of my thing that I'm working towards. Like once I go gray, then I'm going to start dyeing.
Do you like
again,
not have
but I
any
haven't found
grays?
Not that
Any?
I found.
I don't think so either.
Do you have some?
What the guys? That sucks. Yes.
You have.
Well, yeah, like I let myself go natural about 3 years ago, and I only had like a gray here and there. So I was like, I know this is, eventually I'm going to have to start dyeing it again. I now have a colony of gray hairs on the back of my head.
Interesting.
It is. Yeah. I'm like to the point where I'm like, I can't just keep pulling these out. Like I have to like actually dye my hair. They're not just like onesie twosies now. So
Dang.
yeah, but it's just in the back. So it's like, I mean, I eventually want to rock a silver long hair situation. Like I see
Same.
that for me. Like, yeah, but not yet, So I think I'm going to go back into dyeing my hair for a while. And then eventually when my whole head is gray, I'll just like do it that way. Maybe like a little hint of lavender.
I mean, like maybe when I'm in my 60s, I don't see this for myself anytime soon.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
60s is fine.
I thought you guys meant like your 40s or something, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm feeling that yet. Anyways,
yeah,
I think we tried to change the subject, and then we just went right back into it.
I brought us right back.
We're back.
All right, sorry. Welcome to
we're
the Biz Banter podcast, where all we do is banter.
And today I think we're quite literally just having a conversation about social media. I think it's just been a while since we've caught up on what the haps are and what's working, what's not, what we're having fun doing. But before we dive into just like casual conversation, Alex, you had a good question to kick off the pod.
I did. Also, so we haven't done this since episode, I don't even know. We used to do win of the week, and we don't have to bring this back or anything, but I do have a social media related one, so I wanted to bring that up.
Do it.
I passed 7,000 followers on Instagram this week.
That's so exciting.
Right? I know. I went from, I swear, I meant to look this up.
Quick.
Yeah, I meant to look this up before the podcast, but I swear a year ago I had like 2,500.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Just the other day you were like, oh, I might pass 6,000.
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks ago.
It just keeps climbing. So
that's so exciting.
I'm here for it, but
we'll definitely get into what's working for you. Yeah.
I'll just wait to ask my follow-up questions because
that is so exciting.
Yeah.
Yay, congrats.
Well, anyway,
you're going to hit 10K before the end of the year.
I'm kind of hoping so. I mean, things,
how many years has that been on your goals?
Slow down. Well, I stopped putting it on my goals because I was like, that's just.
Oh, this is the year that you'll get it. Is the year that you stop putting it on there.
Yeah, right? Probably. But the question I had to kick off today was just, I want us all to tell each other what our favorite type of content from each other is. And I think I said I wanted to go pretty specific, and then I'm pretty sure I went kind of general, but
I have like specific examples that I'm going to bring.
Yeah, same. I think so too. Me too. Okay.
But I think what's cool about this that I thought about this morning is that I think that's always the fun dynamic in this relationship as business owners is that none of us are in the same industry. So when we're consuming each other's content, like you are pretty much the only personal trainer's content that I'm consuming frequently. And like likewise with Allison. So whereas in our own spaces, like obviously I'm following a ton of other photographers. And so I'm so used to what's going on over there. You guys aren't. So I think it's gonna be fun to hear what's resonating with you and what isn't. And not what isn't, but just like what is kind of, exciting you as a neutral third party.
Yeah, I agree. It's so weird to think too, because my feed is just fitness. It's weird. It's just such a like weird thing to shift your mind out of thinking that not everybody's feed looks like that.
And likely your clients don't see that either, which is kind of like, I think that's kind of the cool part, is that we give each other this perspective of just your everyday average client, not somebody who is so steeped in the space that you're in.
Yeah. Speaking of, I had a client listen to our toxic trait episode and I was like, oh no. And he's like, you know what I got out of it? And I was like, that I want you to cancel all the time. And he's like, no, you're human. He's like, I was like, oh,
that's lovely.
Thank you.
Darling.
Thank you.
That's so lovely.
Vulnerability win.
I had a few people in my real life say that they listened to one of our podcasts and I was like, shoot, I should really listen to these back and make sure I'm not saying anything.
No, honestly, listen, I used to be.
Did we share the stat?
Oh, I wanted to bring that up today too. No, not yet. But I used to, because I primarily edit the podcast, and I'm going to use that word really loosely now because I used to be very meticulous. And now I'm like, as long as like the beginning and the end, I cut off those clips and I kind of listen for a little bit, I just let it fly. And I used to also listen back to every single episode, and I haven't done that lately. So yeah, now that if you're watching on YouTube, because we are now going to be uploading our videos to YouTube as well.
That means we're filming the whole time.
Yeah, I know. And so now I really feel like I'm going to have to like go through it. I'm not going to put a lot of old episodes up probably on YouTube because there are episodes where I'm just like walking around grabbing a coffee in the middle. Like, I'm like, what am I doing?
My lighting is so bad.
Yeah, it's rainy here today, so I have a light, but I still think it's not doing much for me. But I just took myself on such a tangent. Where was I going with this? Watching on YouTube.
How people are actually listening to our podcast.
Oh yeah,
we're like, fuck, we gotta get it together. We also probably should turn it to the explicit podcast because
I thought about doing that. Yep, because of Allie.
Do we swear a lot?
Allie does.
Oh, that's so funny.
And I mean, I don't know if there's like a rule of the number of times. I've thought about switching it over to the explicit so many times. I need to just do that. But the stat that we're sharing that I forgot to share on social, we passed 500 downloads.
Yay!
The Biz Retreat podcast.
So exciting.
So surprising, in my opinion.
I was not expecting a little bit. I was like, that many people are listening. It
was just my husband and my mother.
Yeah,
my mother. Yeah,
actually, no. I found out that my mom doesn't even listen to the podcast. So
wow.
I think my mom dropped off.
One of my brothers listens to the podcast, and I think he's a super fan. So I've
got that
for me. Yeah, because
Zach bikes to work, and he just pulled away, and he's like, "Is there a new biz banter? Ooh, assumptions about your businesses. Can't wait to listen."
I don't know. I think it's just, and this is sort of social media related, like numbers have just become that to me, numbers. So I didn't even think about it when I sent you guys that, hey, look, we passed 500, because it just sent me an email that was like, you passed 500. And you two had such a reaction to it. And I was like, oh, I guess I should be pretty proud of that. I don't know. It just, a number is a number to me at this point, which is not good, I don't think. But
no, that's not a bad thing.
I think that 500, it is a little scary.
My reaction was truly coming from a place of like, this is just a fun thing we're doing. I didn't know that people actually cared. Like,
yeah, that's
or maybe they don't care, but like they're
passively interested
in us.
Yes.
Yeah,
wow, we have a passively interested audience. Love that.
Reach for the stars, gals.
But it's so right. Like, we're just doing this for fun, and it's so nice. It's such a nice thing to come on here and just chat with you guys, because I feel like everything else in my life is so stressful all the time. So it's nice to do something that's just for fun. I'm not trying to
low stakes.
I don't know. Low stakes.
I've been thinking that our group of friends needs a reality show or a podcast since we were in college.
So boring.
In
college. I feel like I was more fun in college. Now
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I feel like college, when we all lived together, I was just like, this would probably make a really funny reality TV show. And it, like, there are so many tropes out there of like Sex in the City, they're all sex related, but Sex Lives of College Girls, where it's like 4 best friends and just their dynamic is so fun. And yeah, I was like, I've always thought that about our group of friends.
To be fair, I think women are just. I think women are just interesting. Like, I feel like I would watch that about like any group of 20-somethings.
we're still watching Jersey Shore, and like Snooki, she carries the show on her back.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny. Anyways, but okay, diving into our question, was there anything else? I feel like, was there anything else we wanted to talk about? Alex, love the social media win. I'm like, that's so
yeah,
awesome.
it just was just so surprising. I just looked at it, I'm like, that number seems so crazy to me. Mainly because I was stuck for so long. And
Yeah,
it's been a lot of years.
I can't wait to get into
It's been like 10 years.
how we're all approaching social media right now. But yeah, okay, so let's dive in. So who wants to go first?
Should we just do like start with you again, Allie, and like me and Alex will both just say
Sure.
what we put down?
Yeah, love it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think both at once, regardless of if they're different.
Yeah, gotta pull it up.
Cricket.
I know. No, just grabbing the notes app. I can go.
Okay.
I can go. Oh, you got it?
Yeah, go for it. No, I have it too, but go for it.
My favorite. Now, I mean, I love when you share your pictures, but my favorite, I don't know why I went straight to video content, but
no, that's fine. That's good.
Favorite is your little detail overlay videos of like when you have like a flat lay of the details of like, for example, like a tablescape, or I just saw one that like the tomato tablescape was like a heavenly dream. And then there was like a pearl and shoes through like a glass table. Those just get me. Like, I feel like it puts me into your shoe.
Oh my God. Yeah, that makes me really happy, actually, because those feel a lot of the times like I'm just doing it for myself. Even when I take those photos in a gallery, like at a wedding and stuff, I'm like, I always have that question of like, am I just doing this for myself? But I'm like, no, I feel like that's art. Like people really like that shit. So
honestly, I think that's my favorite type of photos too. Like I love seeing obviously the cool, you know,
the people,
I don't know,
and whatnot.
The people, yeah. But I don't know. I love the detail shots.
Okay, well that's okay. I like this exercise.
My favorite is, and I feel like I've seen a lot of other photographers do this, but you've definitely done it a few times too, is when you put the vibe, like the vibe of these photos, rom-com or summer in Italy or something like that, and then it goes into like 20 just quick flashes of the photo shoot. I really like those. I feel like because I don't have an eye for that kind of stuff, it's kind of fun to see what the vibe is and then be like, oh, what am I expecting from these pictures? And then see the pictures versus if it's I'm just scrolling the pictures or something else. I don't know.
I almost said that too.
I love that.
I love like a quick like 5-second video with text and then just like flashes of the photos. I love that.
Yes.
I have to get back into those, to be honest. I have not really been. It's a lot. I have to edit those a lot, and like half the time, or at least I found out that these video editing softwares, and sometimes when you have your settings a certain way on TikTok and Instagram, they put like a slight enhancement or something over your photos, and it was driving me bonkers for a while because it was so slight. I'm not sure if people could even see it, but like it was slight to the fact where I'm like, I know that these are not my edits and it is driving me insane. Like, yeah. So anyways, I was like, I felt like it was a quality thing, but it's good. I love this exercise because I didn't think you guys were going to bring up either one of those things, actually. I know, but it's cool to hear what's resonating. Allison, I love that. I love absorbing that kind of content from other people as well. Like that's definitely one of my favorites of just like, yeah, take me there. Or just yeah, when you're like, it's a rom-com thing like that. Yeah. Those pieces of content do actually perform really well too. Cause I think people, it's like, it's a hook too.
People are, yeah. And people are like, oh, what does she mean by that? And then they stick around and like for the photos. So I feel like it's just like, I love
90s rom-coms. I'm sticking around. That kind of thing.
I was gonna say, you just say rom-com coded every single time, even if it's not. I'm like, ooh, what?
I mean, I'm a romance photographer. I think that's kind of an easy one-to-one, you know? Yeah. Okay. Love that, guys. That's
also cool. Unrelated because this I guess this isn't super focused on your photography, but you do post sometimes like a lot of B-roll of yourself with like I don't know if it's hope core or what you want to call it in the background, but every single time I'm just like, oh my God, she's got so much good B-roll. Like it just makes like your life look so great and awesome. And I'm just like, I have no B-roll of myself. I could never make these videos, but every time you make one of those, I'm jealous of it and it looks really good.
I was going to say the exact same thing. And then I was like, oh, that's not her art. So I'm not going to say it. But I mean, it is your art. I do think that seeing like how you style yourself or how you like go like romanticize your day is definitely very tied into what you do. But yeah, I agree. I always look at those and I'm like, what? Where's my vibe? I don't have one.
Are you kidding?
Same.
Yeah, we'll get into your vibe in a second. Hush. You guys both have a vibe. You guys made me feel like I should be more grateful for the effort that my husband puts in filming B-roll for me. Because I've always thought Zach was the MVP of filming the entrepreneurial wife, but I was like, I do have a lot of good B-roll, and it's mostly because we'll be anywhere and everywhere, and I'll be like, Tay, I need a video on my outfit real quick. Just do it. And he does it. So
oh my gosh.
To be fair,
Eric, if you are listening, he's not in this house right now, but you better be listening to this podcast. Get better. Be better.
No, I have to shout out my husband, Zach. He is very good at taking videos of me. It's more so the fact that I'm never in a cute outfit. We're never doing something like we're always on a hike somewhere, which is
that is also very fair.
Well, Zach has art direction. Like the man has a vision. So
he does have a vision. It's more so the fact that we don't like really do anything different, and I'm always in the same outfit. So
That's fair. Well, yeah, Allison, maybe some feedback there. Maybe some next steps.
I know. I guess I need to go shopping.
I know. Sorry, I was going to say one more funny thing about this. I did a trade of like headshots with a couple other photographers, and I very rarely do that. Most pictures I have of myself, I set up a tripod and I shoot with myself, or Taylor holds the camera or something like that. And with other photographers, it's just funny because I was like setting up shots for them. I was like, okay, here's what I'm thinking. Like, this is where I want to be. Like, I would like take the shot and then I would like show them in the frame. Like, here's where I want to be. And I wasn't meaning to be micromanaging or anything like that. And one of the photographers was like, oh, I can tell you direct your husband on how to take these shots a lot. And I was like, you are so right. Like, I tell him exact. I'm like, I need to be right here. Don't you dare cut off my fucking shoes.
I mean, as you should. You're a photographer. You have the vision.
Yeah. So anyways, but yeah, Taylor, I got to give him some credit
because you need to give Eric a masterclass in what he's doing there.
I think Eric just needs to go in with a willing can-do attitude.
You know what? Yes, that is exactly right.
Photographer?
Yeah, but not. Yeah, but
it's different. It's different.
I love you, Eric. But
he's a studio. He also is a studio photographer.
Yes, studio photography. He does his real estate photography. He's been doing some sport photography. It's not like catch me in a casual. And now, granted, I will take ownership in part of this. I am not a cute catch me in a candid type person, but you could do a little bit of something. And yeah, it's the little things. It's like the cutting out the shoes, or do you really think I look good in that picture? Like when you took that, you're like, yeah, she's gonna like that because she looks good.
Attracted to her. It's like, no.
Ugh.
That's so funny.
Oh, okay, that was great. So who should go next? Who wants to go next?
Let's do Allison.
Oh, easy for me.
I thought you were upset with that suggestion.
I'm gonna go right away.
Yeah, you go.
If you've got it, Alex.
It's probably the same.
I'm so curious.
Book cover design.
Oh,
I am so excited to see your cover design reveal. I love your behind the scenes of how you create your covers. I love you talking about your fonts and all the colors and how they stack up on a shelf and look cute together. Anything having to do with your cover process is my favorite piece of your content.
It's interesting you say that. Well, first of all, you'll get a video very soon because I'm about to release my next cover. It's funny because sometimes I think about posting more videos about my covers because I do think that some people like them, but I get nervous every time because it's one of those things. So my covers are very much the animated rom-com, lighthearted, cute covers, colorful, which I personally like. Obviously, there's a huge market for it, but I feel like every single time I post them, someone will be like, "Oh, these cartoon covers," or like, "Oh, I fucking hate cartoon covers," and I just can't take trolls. Like, I'm so bad about it. So I shouldn't let it stop me from posting things, but I definitely don't post about my behind the scenes cover process as much as maybe I would if I wasn't worried about trolls coming in.
Honestly, haters. Like, who cares?
Trolls are engagement.
We went into Target once with Taylor.
I know it's hard.
Not recently, but we went into Target once with Taylor, and he was like, obviously he knew that you weren't on Target shelves, but he was like looking at the romance novels. He's like, Allison's books looks just like this. Like she could be here. And I was just like, I know.
Aww, that's
her
so
quality
nice.
is so good. Yeah, I think it's so unique that you design all of your own covers too. Like, I bet some people do, but I'm like, is that kind of rare as an author to like, I feel like a lot of people probably hire that out.
Well, traditional publishers, of course, like none of them are designing their own covers. I think indie authors, you do see it more often. Not, I would say more so maybe with like when it's more of like a font and like items, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not so much the animated covers, but I know of a few others that do their own covers.
Okay.
I think that's something about indie authors. We're all about the hustle. We're all about figuring out what as much as we can. So I do think it is more common with indie authors to see us design our own covers. But no, that's good feedback. And I know maybe I should post more about my behind the scene process, but I get anxious every time that somebody or like a graphic designer is going to come in and say, oh, like, I don't like your choices, or, oh, you're not doing it right or something. And it makes me anxious to share more videos other than just, my cover reveal.
I do like watching your Procreate.
Yes.
Like your okay. I got so distracted. I'm so sorry. And
I saw you like react to something.
Yeah, what was that?
Like, Alex, we're on video. Get it together.
I know. It came up on my computer. It was Zach texting, and it was the group of the 5 of us. And so I was like, oh no, because you said he's listening to the podcast. Everybody please just look at Zach's text and then let me tell you what I got from Eric separately.
I didn't.
Oh my God.
My phone is verifying. I can't
see
it.
Hold on. Zach texted us all. This is Allison's husband. And said, so if you did not listen to the last episode, we learned something about mine and Eric's coffee situation.
Oh, yeah.
And Zach said, first up, that's okay. He said something about Allie, but the part that's something good. Oh, okay. And then he goes, I learned that I'm a trash coffee person like Alex and Eric. Don't tell Allison.
Well, he doesn't even drink coffee anymore, so I'm not concerned. But I've never seen him do that. And by the way, by trash coffee person, we mean the people that are letting their coffee get cold and then dumping it back in the pot to heat it up. That's what Alex admitted to us last week. And I can't believe he does that because I've never seen him do that. So can't believe he's been hiding that.
I got a text from Eric separately that said, what is Zach talking about? I don't want to tell you what Zach's talking about.
You should say, better tune into the podcast, Eric.
He's going to be so mad that I said that out loud.
And again, I'm talking about it again in this podcast.
I love that it adds a little layer of drama that, well, I guess no, they weren't reacting to you guys talking right now, right? It was just like Zach just happens to
He's listening. He's on his way to work, and he said he was going to listen to this episode. He also said, he's like, do you girls even know Allie? Most emotional person I know. Of course she's tearing up at weddings.
I think that's a good thing. I don't know. Thanks, Zach.
That's so funny.
Oh, that's really funny.
I'm so sorry. I did not mean to get distracted. I just only because awesome. Allison said Zach was listening to the podcast, I was like, oh, this might be something good.
I saw the notification come through that Zach texted us, but I didn't even put 2 and 2 together that's what your face was reacting to. So yeah, sorry.
Well, my face was more so reacting to the text I got from Eric that said, what is Zach talking about? I was like, oh no, I'm going to have a conversation about it.
Oh my God, so amazing.
It's so funny. For some reason, I was just thinking about like assigning romance tropes to like relationships. And I was like, I feel like Alex.
That's so fun.
Alex and Eric, grumpy sunshine. Because I feel like Alex isn't very sunshiny, but Eric is definitely
Taylor
grumpy.
and I?
He is grumpy.
I think I know. Zach sent another text. The first part says, first off.
No, it's the same one.
That's the text.
Oh, sorry.
You're delayed.
I just saw that come up on my screen and I just saw the first off. Beautiful.
Why can't
opening.
I think of any tropes?
I think that Taylor
I can only think of grumpy sunshine.
Friends. We're friends to lovers, I think.
That's what I was gonna say. But...
yeah, we're besties. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I would be considered sunshine, but
maybe Taylor and I are black cat golden retriever, but not as much as Allison and Zach are black cat golden retriever.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No one's more of a golden retriever than Zach is,
and nobody's more of a black cat than Allison is.
We're like grumpy overcast.
Grumpy overcast. That's so cute. I love that.
Bright overcast.
His grumpiness brings out the sunshine in you.
There we go. Yeah, that's it.
And he's got kind of like a fun old man grump, you know?
Like it's like a Larry David.
Yeah.
It's not really grumpy. It's like a
crotchety is my favorite.
Even though that's kind of like a weird word. It's crotchety.
I know I love that word.
It's fun, but it's like
not because of the fact that crotch.
Okay,
but
sorry, lost track here.
Anyways,
Alex, what's your
candidate
favorite of Allison's?
Okay, here's my favorite of Allison's, but I feel like this is just like a best friend vibe type why I like these, but maybe not. Maybe this is how everybody feels about this, but it's and I don't know that I have the word for it, but that might come to me after I explain, but it's like the packing my first order received, listening to my audiobook for the first time, finishing my 7th book. It's like those like accomplishment type videos. They always get me. And I'm like, I don't know if it's just because it's like best friend and I'm just so proud, or if it's just, if I'm like that just because I'm like, oh yeah, go you.
Accomplishment core. So
yeah, no, I feel like accomplishment videos is like the word for that for sure.
Okay, yeah.
That's
my favorite.
They're milestones.
Interesting. Yeah. I guess I didn't know what you guys, I feel like I posted a lot of stuff, so I wasn't sure what you guys were going to say, but interesting.
Isn't it funny? I feel like I assumed way different than what you guys said. Was that the same for you, Allison, or could you have guessed? I feel like you might have guessed mine because I always talk about them.
I honestly didn't even think, I wasn't sure what you guys were going to say. I do feel like the two things that you guys mentioned are also videos that are more popular with people that are already engaged with me, if that makes sense. Like especially the accomplishment videos, I feel like they always do well in the sense that people that are already following me, already know my journey, or are already readers like those videos. And then they're not, but then they don't necessarily go much beyond my like engaged audience, if that makes sense. But they always do really well with like, as far as like reaching a lot of people in my engaged audience.
Yeah, same actually. Love that.
All right.
Should we
move on to Alex?
Yay. Alex, for you, mine is like, it's two things, but they're kind of related. One is like your routines. I love like anytime you're doing a little vlog of your morning routines and stuff like that. I don't know that you've really posted much of those lately, but
Not
sometimes
lately.
on your
I
stories,
want to a lot.
I love when you're like morning coffee, you're on your walking pad, you're, you know, I don't even get like, I don't have that morning routine, obviously. I always am just inspired by it. I'm never like, oh, I can't get my shit together. Like, I always just feel really inspired by you and how good your routines are and just like all that, you know, all that good stuff. And then my second version of content I love of yours is anytime you are cooking. I'm like, all of your recipes are always so colorful, always look so fucking good, but they're also like really simple too. I love, that's really not surprising for me though. I do love food content in general on social media, but I love when you create healthy recipes because they're always so, I think the colors are always like, you do a really good job.
Interesting. Okay, well, I like hearing that because I want to do more like, I don't know, always day in the life, but yeah, morning vlog, day in the life vlog. I have like the desire to do those types of videos. I just always am like, do people care? Which is so stupid because I love watching
them. There are a lot to film.
Yeah, but I love watching them, so I don't know why I would think that people wouldn't enjoy mine. And I do feel like when I post them, I do get like a pretty good engagement about it. Or
it's just like fun to see. Yeah. And like I always feel like you are just really inspiring about it. Your routines in general are really inspiring and you're always like on it too. And very consistent. So I always enjoy that content from you.
I appreciate that. Although I'm gonna call myself out and say that this week I have woken up with 10 minutes to get myself together every day this week. Don't know why.
Vlogging.
Yeah. Just this morning, Eric was like, do you have a client at the gym? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, do you have to leave in 10 minutes? And I was like, yeah. He's like, how do you do that?
Yeah, that's so stressful.
The real question is have you guys ever, I love when people make fun of these people, but the influencers that are on TikTok that will be like, I'm 30 minutes late, but get ready with me. And
yes.
Filming.
It's a hook at this point. I don't
Okay, you think it's like rage bait because it rages me.
It's a hook for sure. Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say as far as the day in the life, because Allie, I also think the day in the life videos would be fun for you, and I also feel like I should film more of them. I don't know if this is cheating, but I totally just film when I have a chance. Like a lot of my day in the life videos are just it's truly what I probably did that day or in a day, but it's usually a hodgepodge of videos that I take throughout the week or something, because it is so hard to be like, okay, every single step of the day, like remember to film a quick
It's really
clip. Like all of a
disruptive.
sudden it's noon and I realize I forgot to film like 3 things. So yeah, I just try to film like when I think about it, and then eventually I'll make a compilation.
That's a really good tip.
See, I'm really bad at like compiling, or not compiling, but like stockpiling videos and putting them together like that. If I'm going to do a day in the life, it has to be all that day. I have to edit it. What I do truly is when I'm deciding to do a day in the life one, I will film, and simultaneously in CapCut, I'll just keep adding, and in my breaks, I
that's
edit.
smart.
And so by the end of the day, but I mean, I think it is hard. That makes it harder to do more, honestly. If I could just like compile, I think that'd be a lot easier.
I think it's harder for you too, because you are like going out and doing more stuff. Yeah. So like for me, it's like, okay, like most of my day is in my house
set up
or running a couple of errands. So it's just a little bit easier for me to figure that out. But yeah.
I was just gonna share a tip with the audience too for Reels on Instagram. I just tried this out for the first time this week, and it actually worked pretty well, which is, you know how your Instagram will like prompt you if you want to make one of your highlights a reel. Have you guys seen that pop up before?
I don't think I make enough stories.
Well, I'm gonna convince you here right now. I did like a story recap, and I honestly think just editing stories sometimes is a little bit easier for me, because they kind of go you do it in chunks. You're like, okay, I can do story by story, and I'm not messing up the whole thing or whatever. And I did it this week for the styled shoot day I did, and I recapped it in my stories. And I was like, you know what? I really want to make a reel about this thing. So I was like, why don't I just try this? It worked great. Like, just having Instagram convert that chunk of stories into a reel. They edited it all for me. I kind of had to do a little bit of tweaking, put some music over it, and there was my vlog, and it came from Instagram stories. So little tip, if you guys haven't tried that yet, that was kind of I am like the laziest editor in the world. And I was a little nervous you guys were going to bring up positive things that involve a shit ton of editing, even though that's what we did for Alex. But I was like, I
like editing.
If there's an editing hack, I am taking it, because I hate editing videos.
I will spend hours.
It is the most time consuming.
Yeah.
It's so tedious.
But I like it.
That's good. I love that. You love it.
Yeah.
I wish I share mine for Alex.
Sorry.
No, I did. So I have a specific video in mind too, but when you share videos about, I know you share a lot of exercise type videos, but specifically the ones where you break down a stretch, like, oh, you're already doing this, do this instead type of thing. And specifically
like a form type?
Yeah, kind of like a form. I mean, like the one that I always think of, and I still think in the back of my mind constantly, is when you were helping people with posture, and you're like, don't think about rolling your shoulders back, think about like squeezing them together.
Yeah.
And that one like changed my life. And I feel like those little tips of form things like that, especially like everyday things, because I'm not necessarily, when I work out, I basically only go to workout classes, so I'm not super thinking about exercises or form and stuff, but those little things that I can like incorporate into my daily life are really helpful.
And they're like quick too. I like that. Like little quick hits of like, they're just one form correction that I can keep in mind when I'm doing it.
Yep. I'm only pausing because I'm like, that type of content used to do so well for me, and I stopped. Don't know why. Well, I think just effort.
Well, I think too, the algorithm changes, and it can be really disheartening, because that happens to me a lot too, where I'll go back and be like, oh, why did I stop making these videos? And it's usually something to do with the algorithm. But the thing about the algorithms is they're always changing. So it's usually good to like revisit those things. Yeah.
I think that this is actually a good segue. I wanted to ask you guys, how are you all feeling in general about social media? It doesn't have to be a specific platform, but just like, are we flowing right now? Are we inspired? Are we feeling blocked? Like, what's the general vibe?
I feel like I am inspired, but without ideas.
Okay.
That's tough.
Like I want to be creating, but something is blocking that, and I'm not sure what it is.
Sounds like you need to smoke a blunt and go.
Yeah. Oh my God, we did say that that one time a couple weeks ago. Yeah, definitely put the explicit tag on these.
Oh, sorry.
Allie takes sure.
I am the problem.
So the first time that we talked about like microdosing for ideas. No, I feel very similarly. So for social media for me right now, I do feel like there's been some type of shift in the algorithm. I don't feel like my stuff is performing as good as it sometimes does, but I don't really feel that disheartened about it, mostly because I've been like very focused on other things, like finishing my book. So I have very much been in just, okay, get a video out a day, but I haven't been spending the time to think about what I'm posting or, being excited about what I post. Now that I'm finished with my book, like actually today, I think I'm going to dedicate, it's funny, even without this conversation, I was already thinking I was going to dedicate today to film content and try to get inspired and get a lot of videos, which I don't do often, but every time I do it, it feels nice to like get inspired and just have a lot of backlog type content. But yeah, I agree with Alex. Like sometimes it is so hard to think of the idea, and sometimes I think of a bunch of ideas, but it's hard to know what will resonate. And it's so tough because sometimes I'll think of an idea and maybe I'll post it and it doesn't do that well. But then what if I posted it? Sorry, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent.
I love it.
No,
but then I'm like, what if I posted that same type of video like 20 times? Would one of them take off? Because that's the thing about like going viral.
Yeah.
Is like, yeah, but if I have like 100 different ideas, I can't do 20 variations. You know what I mean? Like if I'm posting all this different content, it's hard to want to post something when the first video only got, a couple hundred views, but you just never know. Like, what if you keep going in that direction, maybe one of them would work out. So all in all to say, it's like hard to experiment and find things that you want to focus on.
I agree with that because I definitely now, as an aside of how I'm feeling right now, but it normally when I try out something new and it doesn't perform, I just don't feel motivated to ever create that kind of content again. But oftentimes it really is just like a small tweak of the hook, or it is like, I don't know, just a different caption or a different call to action or something like that. Or it's just the conditions are right in that moment. And that second piece of content that you put out, that's the exact same thing, just happens to take off where the first didn't. But I think that what I'm trying to do now and the headspace that I'm in is just not being so like controlling of coming off perfect. Like I feel like I'm in a space where I'm a lot more comfortable just experimenting, just throwing something out there just to see if it works, or like when I'm inspired, just not letting the time between when I'm inspired to posting the content be so long. And so like, I feel like when I give myself too much time in that window, I criticize it too much and I'm just like, wow, this is a shitty idea. I don't want to post it anymore.
That happens to me all the time when I have these days where I like make like 10 videos or something. I was just talking to Zach because I did this a couple of weeks ago and I still have videos from that day that I haven't posted because I let it marinate and I'm like, I don't know, do I actually want to post this?
And then with that a lot.
Yeah. But then it's like, you should just post it because what's the worst? You can always delete it. You can always put it on private if it doesn't do well. Like, yeah.
No, I think that I'm having that attitude a lot more now of just like, what's the worst that can happen? Just get it out there. And it's like, I feel like half of my battle, like most of the time, is being consistent. And the reason I'm not consistent is I cut off myself at the legs basically. And just like, I have all these content ideas and then I just criticize them and then don't post them. And I don't think that's productive.
I also get overexcited too on the days that I do feel inspired. I feel like it's all or nothing. Like I'm either feeling not inspired and I'm just like trying to get through it, or I feel like I have 20 different ideas and I film them all in one day. And then I want to post them all in that day. But I'm like, I know that's not good either. So then I'm trying to decide which ones to post. And then I feel like the videos get less and less exciting as the week goes on. Or I don't know. So I don't know what to do about that. But
I feel that.
I know it's hard. I feel like the best thing you can do for your social media presence is disassociate, to be honest. Or maybe that's just me.
I do think there's a level of letting go that's really healthy in social media for business owners. I mean, maybe probably for influencers too, but for business owners especially, I think we've said this on the podcast before, but that line we toe of like, I'm a business owner versus influencing content, it's really thin sometimes. And you're like, hey, I am a business at the end of the day. And the goal of me getting on here is to build my audience, to get more clients, to sell more books, that kind of thing.
I think it's like a good reminder too that like influencing and creating viral videos and videos that resonate with people is already such a hard thing in and of itself, even if you had just the whole world at your disposal. But the fact that we're small business owners or small business owners out there, we're also trying to get people interested in what we're trying to sell, like a book, a fitness guide, like a photo session, like because of that, it makes it even harder. Like we're not just posting about anything, like we're trying to specifically get you interested in what we're doing. So I think that makes it even something that's already impossible even harder.
Would you guys agree with the statement that as a small business owner, you have to enjoy the type of content that you are putting out there? Like enjoy making it, enjoy the end result, like all the things. Like you actually down in your core have to like what you're doing.
I sort of feel like 50-50 on that. Or maybe, no, not 50-50, more like maybe 80-20. Like mostly yes. But I do feel like that limits you a little bit. I think that making some type of content that's like for example, I've done a couple posts lately with like, that inspirational talking and I just like add words to it. And like, I don't personally love that type of content or love making that type of content. It just is. But I'm like, I know that kind of does well in the fitness space. So I've been playing with just putting some out there. And it's not like I'm like, oh, I hate this content. I think that's different. I'm just a little bit more indifferent to it. And like, it's just not what really inspires me, but it's something that I put out there. So I think maybe even 90-10, like generally, yes, mostly like stuff that I enjoy doing, I like the final results of. And then there's a little bit of like, I don't know, trendy things in there that.
And it's hard to, I mean, maybe, I don't know if you feel this way about, it's hard for me because with Book Talk, it's obviously a space where there's a lot of readers as well as authors trying to infiltrate. So a lot of the content I'm consuming are book reviews or drama or like all these things or people's opinions on book covers, a lot of opinion oriented content. Which is content that I would never create as an author. Like, I just don't think that that's my space in the area of Book Talk. So it's kind of challenging and that's why I do post a lot of like behind the scenes stuff, a lot of like vulnerable stuff about my journey and my story, because when I see other indies, I'm like, that's the kind of content that resonates with me the most. So that's kind of why I lean in that direction. But it's hard because in the sense that like the content that I consume the most, people's opinions on books, is not really content that I can post. Does that make sense? So in a way, I feel like everything I post is not necessarily my favorite content, but I'm always trying to think like, how can I still show up as an author and get people interested in my books, but also have it be something that's interesting to them? Because if I'm just kind of like constantly sell, like people get really sick of that.
Totally. Yeah. I feel like for me, I agree with what you guys are saying. And I also have realized that for myself to be at least moderately consistent, like I said, that continues to be the biggest challenge that I have with social media. I do have to enjoy making the process of making the content. So what I've started to do on TikTok, like I realized what always was stopping me in my tracks from having a consistent posting schedule or whatever on TikTok was the fact that like I was doing a lot of content that required so much editing. And if I do that, then I need to carve out the time for editing. And it just isn't at the time to edit social media. It's like, I have very precious time to edit my actual work. Like that's mostly what I need to be spending my time on. So now I've just started going on TikTok and just talking and really not doing a whole lot of editing. And it's not like going viral per se or anything like that, but I do feel really positive about the fact that this is the easiest way for me to be consistent. And I feel like that's going to pay off over time. So we'll check back in on that. But that's kind of, I feel like I've hit my stride with TikTok in kind of the last few weeks where I'm like, I can get on and I can talk in front of a green screen or something like that and just yap. And that's a very easy thing for me to do in 10 minutes. Whereas if I was editing a video, putting text over it, stitching a bunch of photos together, making sure that the end cut of the video isn't compromising the look and quality of those photos, all of that stuff, then I would spend like hours on it. And now I just don't want to do that. So we'll see. I don't know if it's going to work, but I did want to bring that up on the pod today as like I should check back in on this and see how it works later on down the road.
I think that's a great point too about like time constraints and editing, because we were just talking about the day in the life videos. I think those are so fun. I think that they are a good idea. Like perhaps I would post one once a week, twice a week if it wasn't such a time consuming thing to make and post, you know?
Yeah.
I do think, oh, that just took me right out of the space.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. Oh, I do think that even if, you know, they're not going viral or getting a lot of views, I do think every video, every story, every post is like another tile in like the on the wall of like who you are and how people are perceiving you. So I do think that every single post is important, whether you're, you know, blowing up or getting a lot of content in it or not.
Sorry, that might.
I could barely hear it.
Baby's having a time.
Yeah.
Just poor gal.
But yeah, no, it's not about going viral. It's just about, especially as a small business, it's about reaching the right people. And obviously, I feel like a little bit differently because in my nature, it's like I do have to reach kind of a lot of people to, I guess, quote unquote, make it. But still, it's not like I need like, you know, what good is a video that gets 20 million views if it's not the kind of people that are interested in my book, or if it's not getting people interested in me as an author. So it's not, because I think that all the time, like I could post completely unrelated videos of my dog or something like that, but even if it goes viral, it's like not going to serve like me. I've had that in any way.
That's happened to me before. Winona is no longer allowed on my TikTok because I had 2 dog videos go totally viral, and I like, you know, it's like you're getting all these DMs from people who don't know what you're actually doing and stuff like that. And it's also you lose followers so fast too because you like start posting your regular content, and it's like, I don't know, you guys could have seen that I am not a dog account before you gave me a follow or something like that. But yeah, I was going to add to that saying that Allison, you brought up a really good point about your difference in goals, like for between me and you, for example. Like your goal on social media is to reach a lot more people, and maybe virality is a big part of your social media strategy. For me, it's not so much. Like going viral isn't, I don't think, the most effective way for me to get my ideal client. It's like I need to be really targeted, like hashtags, localized hashtags, and like showing up on Seattle TikTok is huge for me. Like I am so much more targeted and like localized in the way that I'm trying to target people. Going massively viral doesn't do a whole lot for my business. And also, like, I don't need to go viral. Like I just need a handful of people who are interested in whatever I'm putting out there to want to book with me. And that's like a month's worth of my business right there. And so, yeah, I think just pointing out that people can have different goals based on their sales goals is also something important to think about when you're creating your social media strategy.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that just made me think, I don't know what my strategy is.
Oh, yeah.
Because I kind of have both sides of it, of like in-person
Yeah.
clients, my app, and not that I ever talk about really either. Honestly, I don't talk about either one. I don't.
What are you talking about? What are you doing?
I'm just like sharing my like expertise. I'm not actually marketing to anything, which is
marketing.
Now I know, but
you're getting people in,
yeah. So I don't know. I guess that's probably something that I need to take away from this conversation and be a little bit more strategic about in different ways.
You might have developed strategies for both of those goals. Yeah, they're just different. And sorry, Allison, what were you saying?
I was gonna say, I think about that all the time. How we all three have different, because I feel like I have a very low to entry price point, or it's easier to get a foot in the door, but I just need like large numbers. Whereas Alex is kind of in the middle, where it's like she has like a medium kind of like price point, and she needs more people, but not necessarily like hundreds of thousands. And then Allie just needs like a few really like she's probably the highest price point, but then she just needs like a few really targeted clients that like love her work. So we are kind of all in like different spectrums.
And the sales funnel looks different for all three of those too, right? Like it's like Allison, you're probably banking on a lot more impulse buys and just like people who are just ready to buy your book on TikTok just because of one video they saw, because the price point is low and they can do that. Alex, with you, it's a lot more intrinsically motivated of like, how can I tap into this person's like aspirations for self-growth and like things like that. For me, I feel like I have to take my clients on this very long journey of like drawing them in with aesthetics and envision and like all this stuff. And then by the time that they're ready for those milestones, they're like, I'm ready to invest this high dollar amount in this art because I have been on this journey with Allie for a long time. Like, I just think it's really interesting how our sales funnels all look very different.
It's very true.
Yeah. Oh, I was like looking at the time that we've been talking. I was like, oh, this is a long pod.
Yeah, this is a long one.
Almost an hour.
I was like, do you guys have any other topics that you wanted to talk about with social media today? I feel like we actually covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, I think so. Good chatty. Catch up with social media.
Yeah.
It seems like we're all like in a pretty good space, I feel like, as far as
headspace in general.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
It's a nice change.
We'll go through a season on this pod where we're not in this. We got to come back to this episode and be like, hey, remember that? Remember how we were in such good spirits before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still in my very fuck it attitude. I feel like that. I feel like that's kind of just the energy I have this year. And it's kind of nice. Maybe that comes with maturity in your business. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Me, I've gone through highs and lows of this kind of thing, but it does feel really good right now.
Allie,
I feel like I'm in like a delusional. Oh, God.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like I'm in a fuck it space, but also a bit of a delusional, optimistic headspace where I just feel, for some reason, I just feel like I'm going to do well in the next few months. And I think it's just because I have a lot of things in the pipeline. But come back to me if I don't hit some of these goals that I'm hoping to hit, then I might start spiraling.
Well, the goals that only you know about, so it's like
true.
But yeah, I feel you. I claim that energy for you.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Alex?
I was just gonna say, Allie out here reminding us every 5 minutes that I need to mark this episode as explicit. Or our whole podcast is explicit.
I'm gonna go back to what Zach said. Do you guys even know me? You know what? Honestly, it is my goal to have our fourth roommate Anne on the pod. I still haven't asked her. I gotta text that girl. But like, I feel like having Anne on the pod will balance out the cussing. I hope that she's the same way she was in college. I feel like Anne and I are like we just talk that way.
I thought you were going to say that Anne was going to bring like a not cussing energy.
No,
and I was like, unless she's totally
changed. She's the one that makes me feel normal. Anyways, but thank you guys so much for tuning into our casual chat about social media today. We hope that you guys are enjoying the new route that we are taking, the Biz Banter podcast. If you guys haven't had a chance to just revel over our new artwork, go check it out on social media, like and subscribe. And if you're feeling extra like you want to overachieve here, you can give us a review wherever you listen.
And rating it is like a quick tap of the 5 stars. You don't even have to review. I mean, yes, review, please. That's even better. But just at least to rate it is just like, all you got to do is literally tap and it records it.
You do have to like play the episode. I found out because of course, when I went home, I was like going to all my friends and I was like, hey, rate our pod. But I was like,
I didn't realize
you
that.
do have to play an episode first. So, but that's nice. I feel like that's, so everybody.
I've rated our pod.
Well, Allison.
Maybe I have.
Well, here's the thing. If you've made it this far, then you have listened to it. So
yes, true.
Give us that 5.
Oh yeah.
Also, as a reminder, we are on YouTube now. So if you are not watching this on YouTube, you can go subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is Biz Banter Pod or Biz Banter Podcast. I think I tried to make it consistent across
Do we link it on
platforms.
Our socials? It might be on our socials.
It is in our bio on Instagram. It's linked on there. So yeah, just type in Biz Banter Podcast. You will find it. And yeah, that's just if you want to see our smiling faces and all of that while we're chatting here. Otherwise, thanks for listening. And we'll catch y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.